Hey, Wolf397 here. Incredibly sleep deprived, but I'm still kicking right now. It's about 1:44 in the morning, and I'm partaking in some Hololive right now. To be specific, the Hololive Second Fest Beyond the Stage. Stage 2, which of course is my favorite stage because that's where Dogchamp Inugami Korone did her performing. Now, the reason I'm watching it is because this specific piece of Hololive media is what caused me to become a Hololive fan, a VTuber fan, if you will, just in general. It catapulted me down the VTuber rabbit hole, and it wasn't until 2 years later where I crawled out of it with a lighter wallet and lack of dignity. And I felt it was very, very fitting to watch this right now, especially in regards to some very recent news that has struck the VTuber and especially Hololive EN community, and that is the announcement of Gawr Gura's graduation, which will be happening on May 1st. And yeah, that has been quite a hit, a very, very critical strike to the community, and it's something that's actually happened quite a bit as of late. There's been a slew of graduations announced and passed over the year. We've had Fauna, we've had Chloe, we've had Mume announce her graduation, we have Chion, Aqua, just all these VTubers from Hololive just announcing that it's just not going to continue. And it's caused a lot of, controversy, a lot of shock, a lot of doubt, a lot of just so many emotions just flowing through everybody's minds. And, of course, all of these are, to be expected. And really, we can't, tell anyone to feel otherwise. These VTubers mean a lot to many people. Each and every one of them means something very, very deep. And while it is normal to feel like this about, the graduations that are currently happening, it's also brought up a lot of critical analysis, I guess you could say, of the goings on behind the scenes for Hololive and Holo Stars as well, and just pretty much the entirety of the VTuber scene. Is everything okay in Hololive? Is everything going well? Because really, honestly, it's quite a surprise to get an announcement of a graduation, but it's something else for there to be multiple graduations announced in such a short time span. And it's valid to have these sort of questions be brought up and raised, especially when it has to do with the potential factors of the health, physical and mental, of the people behind these avatars. And it's hard to say. It's really hard to say what is going on here. And for a lot of the VTubers that have announced their graduations or have graduated, have said, there's several things that, led to this being the case. And, one of them is, disagreements with direction or management or something of the sort. And of course, that's something to be expected because, Hololive is a company, a whatever, I don't know an agency that has been going on for since 2017, 2018. I forgot when it started, but it was around that time. And EN started in 2020, and that's where a lot of the graduations have stemmed from. There's of course been a few from the Japanese side, none from Indonesia, surprisingly enough, but yeah, mainly from EN. And I think it's not a surprise because a lot of things can happen over 5 years. It's honestly a surprise that some of these VTubers have stayed for as long as they have. Gura was there from the very beginning of Ian's inception in 2020. So that's been almost 5 years. I think they started in September. So yeah, a little less than 5 years, which is quite a long time, especially when you put it into terms of, say, like a job, which is this is their job, obviously, of course. And, not many people stay at jobs for that length of time. Like, I personally, the longest I've ever stayed at a job, and I'm not proud to say this, a fast food job was 3 years, technically 4. But, I started late 2019, quit in early 2023. So it's kind of a technicality to say that I've been there for 4 years. But yeah, it's like to be expected. No one's going to be staying at a single job forever. There are some, there are the very, choice few that can find comfort in the changings of their workplace, as well as the people that come in and out of said workplace. But yeah, for the most part, it's quite a surprise. And, I don't know what it's like in Japan. I don't know if people tend to stay at their jobs for pretty much until death. And that's why there hasn't been that many graduations. Well, graduations by choice. I won't get into it, but I think for the most part, there's only been 4 graduations by choice, right? Yeah, 4, around 4. And compared to EN, where it's much less people, that's it's a difference in percentile. But yeah, that's something to take into account. And I can't really blame people for wanting to leave because, like I said, a lot can change in 5 years. And for some of these people that joined Hololive EN, I could kind of see, maybe things not being the same and, the company wanting to take things in a different direction. When EN came about, things were, still, they were still trying to find their footing with how they kind of wanted to run everything. Keep in mind, Hololive was really only going for maybe 2.5 years. So they were still they were still taking baby steps right now. And yeah, fast forward 8 or 7 years later, and of course the landscape's going to be super duper different. There's going to be, investors, there's going to be sponsors, there's going to be other sorts of factors that the company may want to take to, make sure that they could avoid things falling out with sponsors, brands, investors, or just trying to keep a good PR image, stuff like that. I talk like I know about this stuff, but honestly, I'm just pulling all of this out of my ass. I'm not a VTuber. I'm definitely not a VTuber for Hololive or Holo Stars or anything, so I'm just saying what I think might have happened. And over those 5 years, just, maybe just some of these people, some of these girls were just not, feeling up to trying to, change with the times. Or maybe it's just not, in their heart to stay with the company. Maybe they want to go independent, quite a few of past Hololive members where, they, stepped away. And honestly, I feel like that's a really great opportunity if they don't want to continue with what Hololive wants to do. If they want to just, continue doing what they want to do, going independent is probably the greatest thing you could do when leaving a agency like this. Because, one, you already have a gigantic fan base. And two, you've already had all the skills that have been built up over those 3 or whatever many years that you've been in Hololive or whatever VTuber agency. So yes, it's quite probably an enticing thing. And also, being independent, you have less restrictions, which, like I said, changing times leads to, more restrictions to keep, both the company as well as the talent in a safe spot. And second thing, I feel like, along with the changing time, man, I went off on that for quite a while. Was not expecting that at all. But the second thing that I think is probably maybe the most important between these two right here is health, mental and physical. And I know this is a reason that was stated by at least two of the, actually no, three. Sana, Mume, and Chloe, I believe, have stated that health played a part in the reasons for choosing to graduate. And, that is like, it's probably a really hard choice, but honestly, good on them for deciding to, choose to like favor their well-being over being a part of, the company, even though, of course, that would bring many, many, benefits, to them, such as, having a stable like source of income, working yourself to the bone, or doing something that just brings anguish in a like a psychological sort of way, which I believe was a part in Gura's reasonings to leave. At least, going off of what she talked about, as well as, fan speculation. But of course, for fan speculation, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But Gura was, it's not an exaggeration when I say Gura is the face of VTubing, at least in America, because with her nearly 5 million subscriber count, she is I think she's the most subscribed VTuber actually in the world, now that I think about it. I think the other person that she surpassed was Kizuna Ai. So yeah, being the face of VTubing can probably weigh on your soul quite a bit. And of course, it's something that probably shouldn't be, factored in too much, but it's probably a hard thing to just like, swat away and just pretend doesn't exist, because that title probably puts a lot of weight on the shoulders of the bearer of said title. So, honestly, I would probably be in the same shoes as Gura. I don't know. I'm honestly surprised she was able to keep going for that long. And she did say it was a long time coming. So, she probably wanted to do this from like maybe like a point from like a year ago or two, maybe. But yeah, especially considering what I guess she had a bit of a unsteady like schedule for streaming. But yeah, no good to have that like, just like beating away at your mind. And good for her, honestly. And I think she's going to go independent, because I actually saw a tweet from I think her old past life is Senzawa, but she made a tweet about like 6 days or so before the announcement. So I think she's got plans, and I don't think we're going to be missing that much of Gura anytime soon. She'll just be in a bit of a different form. And I know it's a bit frowned upon to, speak about past lives and stuff, but, honestly, I don't really, it's going to make me sound like an asshole, but I don't really care that much anymore, because, like I said, I crawled my way out of the VTuber rabbit hole, by like the skin of my teeth. I narrowly made it out of there. I was several $1,000s in debt because of the many red super chats that I sent, but I got out of there. And, with that, I kind of just, lost the whole, like choice of just, like, playing along with kayfabe. Like, I'm just going to treat them like how they are. I'm just going to treat them like people, and I'm not going to really treat them like, like mystical beings and stuff. And to be honest, that's kind of the one thing that I kind of got a little tired with VTubing and stuff, where, everyone has to be like this crazy, like, god or dragon, or like human, dog, cat, whatever. And while that's fun at the beginning, it's definitely different from seeing like, say, Germa or something. Like it's a novel concept, but after about 3 years or so of that, not even 3 years for me, probably like maybe around 2 years that, I was in this rabbit hole for. I just kind of, got a little tired of it. And, I felt like it was weighing on me as well, just being a fan of VTubers, because, it started to affect my psyche in a way that I didn't really feel was beneficial. But of course, I don't want this to be about myself. This is about, the state of Hololive and where they're currently going, as a company and an agency. And yeah, I've already pretty much stated what, I'm sure everyone has talked about. Everyone has pretty much just like, hammered down on, the potentials of why and how this keeps happening with all these graduations just like popping up like out of nowhere. And yeah, it's just going to be something that we're going to have to expect over the next few years, because like I said, these VTubers are human, at the end of the day. These people are not going to want to like maybe do the same thing for the rest of their life. And we're reaching, like some pretty lengthy years for some VTubers. I think Corona's been there for like 6 years, right? 6 years. And it's going to be like, I don't know if she's going to graduate anytime soon, but, when she does, oh boy. And especially if Ina does, I'm going to have to find a way to bear arms, but not for the reasons that you think. I'm going to just have to take my anger out and like, shoot some targets or whatever. But yeah, it's going to happen eventually. All of these girls and boys, I can't keep forgetting about Holostars. They're good people. They deserve the same respect, so don't forget. Holostars are just as good as Hololive. It's easy to forget, but don't forget it. But it's just going to be something that's going to happen. And, your Oshi may be here right now, but who's to say she might be here, in the coming year or two. So, like everyone says, and like I personally have said, in many a graduation stream chat, graduation announcement, or the literal graduation stream chat, cherish your favorite VTubers, cherish your favorite content creators, streamers, actor, actress, whatever, because they're not going to be here forever. Whether that be alive or creating content for you to enjoy, they're not going to be here forever. So, support them, give them the love and care that they deserve. Not too much though, don't be a weirdo, and just enjoy it while it lasts, because not everything is guaranteed forever. And I guess just, VTubers is one of those things that helps remind us that nothing is forever. That and like pets. I feel like pets are probably like the best like learning like lesson for that. I know I've had a few like dogs and cats that have just passed away, and I'm like, oh well, I now understand the effects of mortality, and this is gonna stick with me probably for the rest of my life. Wow. But yeah, keep supporting them. Don't let them slip through your fingers, and be with them until the very last day, for when they walk off into the sunset and get, I don't know, old yellered by Yago or something. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And I am going to continue watching this concert, which, it's not illegal for me to be having this on my stream. It may be reflecting in my glasses, but that's not enough for the content ID to be tripped up. So cover, don't fuck with me, okay? I've given you many, many hundreds of dollars, and I'm not going to let you get on my ass like this, because I supported you. Now you support me with this and let beyond the stage reflect in my glasses like that. And besides, no one's going to want to watch. I mean, this is not the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie being shown on Adult Swim in like 2007 or whatever. No one's going to take any joy in seeing like maybe like 10% of the like screen real estate being used to, maybe even less than 10% being used to display the concert. But yeah, definitely a tangent that I did not like mean to go off on. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.